Saying what up. Here again, doing how we do. 612. How do you do? Yeah, man. Welcome back. That has been in the world. Let me first apologize for the boogery quality of my voice. I do have a what I would consider a harmonious, melodic voice of sorts. But today there's a boogery quality to it. The allergies are kicking me dead in the ass. The allergies all up on me, but that's all right. I'll go get some Zyrtec, something like that later or whatever. And we'll do what we do. Shout out to all the homies. Shout out to Jerry Davis. Shout out to the homie Maine with the Mahar's shirts, t-shirts. He's we're gonna have him on the interview about his shirt company. He's starting up in a little while. It's hot in general. Anyways, it's getting near football season, as you all know. Got the Vikings gear on. We had the last preseason game on Saturday, but we'll get into that a little bit. But let's start out talking about how the NFL is failing completely with these new rule changes that are, let's put it like this. We are currently, as we speak, the end of American football as we know it. The way the NFL is policing these players nowadays with the way they make tackles and this, that, and the other, and the way they call them penalties and this, that, and the other. I saw a clean hit during the Vikings game, matter of fact, where it was like near the beginning of the fourth quarter, into the third, I think it was the beginning of the fourth quarter. We were on defense, and one of our linemen, who I think is going to make the team, clean sack on the quarterback. He didn't drive his shoulder completely into the guy, didn't drop all his weight onto the quarterback, but it's a clean hit, didn't use his helmet, and on that play. The quarterback still had the ball in his hand. The lineman landed on him a little bit, but he didn't put his full body weight on him. He bounced right up off of him, and we got called for a penalty flag on that play. These kind of calls and penalties can't be called and it still be considered football. The NFL has been focused on. It's a good thing, to take the unnecessary, dangerous things out of the game. It's like the helmet collisions, horse collaring, the cheap ways of hurting people. It's fine to get that out of the game. That's cool. But the NFL needs to change their mindset on how they're doing these things. They need to stop looking at it as how do we make the game safer, or because the game is never going to be safe. They need to look at it, how do we make this game less dangerous? And but making it less dangerous doesn't mean that you take away from the essence of what it actually is. Football is going to be a violent sport, no matter how you look at it. If you want it to be the quality of athletic event that you've built it up to be, and that you claim that you want it to be, the caliber that you want it to be, then there's certain things that you can't penalize a person for doing. When somebody has a clean hit, and they use their full power to execute that clean hit, that's what it is. This is professional sports. This isn't Pee Wee League football. The NFL is messing up their own product. Because true football fans are going to get tired of it real quick. All these penalty flags being thrown every other snap, and this, that, and the other. And then the NFL doesn't understand in a certain way. They don't understand they're undercutting them. This is a hot take, to me. They're undercutting themselves in several ways. You got these new leagues that are going to be made pretty soon here. These new football leagues, and all they have to do is learn from the NFL what not to do. If you think about it, they're sitting back and learning from all of the NFL's mistakes right now while they're forming their leagues. I think it's the AFA, American Football Association, what they're gonna call it, or something else. I think there's two leagues that are being formed right now. But all they have to do is look at the simple things, look at the things that are killing the NFL and PR right now, and be like, oh, we just do it the opposite of what they did. So, okay, domestic violence, we're going to take that seriously from the onset. There's going to be a no tolerance policy on domestic violence in these new leagues. You can see that happening already. They're going to have that on lock. They're going to take concussions and concussion protocol. They're going to have the center. They have studies. They're going to have studies. They're going to have protocols. They'll have that covered, so there won't be any CTE people being sued for CTE in these new leagues in 20, 30 years, because they're going to have that covered from the get-go. All that, and as far as the rules in their leagues, they'll look at the unpopular rules here that have slowed the game down, and they just want to institute those rules in their league. So the rules that are instituted in the NFL now to make it less actual football-like, they just won't put in their league, and they'll gain viewers just like that. So the NFL is actually providing a formula right now to help these other leagues be successful, and I don't think they see it. But when these other leagues start getting sponsors because of their good PR representation, because of the issues that they, and I guarantee you that these new leagues won't have no national anthem policy. I can pretty much guarantee you that right now they're not going to mention that at all. Somebody probably ask them about it, I'm sure, down the road, but they're going to be like, we're here for football. And besides just these just the foot up that these new leagues are going to have on the NFL by watching them. Something else that I think is going to play a significant role in the NFL's future is people are underestimating.
You pay me.
I think people are really underestimating what's going to happen on this next collective bargaining agreement. I don't think they're really paying attention to that at all, because look at it this way. If the NFL gets in this next collective bargaining agreement and these other leagues are starting to thrive and they're starting to gain play, have their players association, and their players association is actually addressing the needs of the players that they're asking to be addressed. When the NFL comes to this new collective bargaining agreement in 2021 or whatever it is, the players can look at it as, well, you guys can either give us these things that we're asking for, or we can dissolve our player associations and join this other league. And that's only like 3 years from now. So I'm just saying right now, NFL has, they got a potential problem on their hands. And I don't think anybody else is really talking about that. Everything isn't rosy for them, I don't think. I don't think they see the writing on the wall, because certain things haven't happened yet to make those things reality, but I think they will. If you know that you're building a direct competition for something that's been has been like part of the American fabric for years. So if you're one of these billionaires that's investing in these new leagues, what are you going to do to help you compete against the NFL? You can do everything opposite. Everything that worked out negatively for them, you're going to do that opposite. You're going to learn from it. And everything that was bad PR for them, you're going to make it good PR for you. And everything that was good PR for them, you're going to make that good PR for you. So you're going to do whatever you can to make a superior product. And this next collective bargaining agreement, if these other leagues like the AFAA or whatever else it is called are already thriving, and the NFL doesn't want to relinquish some of these rights that the players want with their players association, I could see very easily marquee players being like, I'm going to play for them over there. I'm going to make money over there. And then, once you start losing marquee players like that, what's the NFL going to do? I mean, the main problem with all the, and that's just on the macro. That's a macro level thing. We started talking about the rules and all that, the rule changes that they're trying to institute. One of the main problems with these rule changes that I have is that it's all about the quarterback. Like the last time a major rule change happened due to a quarterback was Tom Brady about 8-9 years ago when he got his leg hurt. And that's part of the game, man. football isn't all about just the quarterback. You know, he gets injured for a year, so all of a sudden, quarterback can't be touched once the ball's out of his hand, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 while he's in the pocket because Tom Brady got hurt. Aaron Rodgers gets a clean hit running his sorry ass out of the pocket last year. He's a football player. He ran out of the pocket. He's in the field of play, and he just threw the ball before Aaron Barr hit him. Aaron Barr gave him a clean, good one that separated his shoulder. That's not his fault. Aaron Rodgers should have protected himself a little bit better, running out of the damn pocket like that. And so so it was a clean hit last year. All of a sudden, because Aaron Rodgers got hurt, now there's now you got all kind of players getting penalized because Aaron Rodgers got hurt. You know, quit babying these dudes, man. This is football. And I doubt they're gonna have rules like that in these new leagues. You know, it's like people want it all. They want the violence and they want the high scoring points. Sure, you can say the quality of the league isn't the same when the star quarterbacks aren't healthy the whole year and they can get hurt. That's part of the game, man. It's part of the game, and that's part of testing. Testing the fortitude of your team. You know, sometimes you've had those miracle seasons where teams can still stick it together because they didn't have their quarterback they thought they was going to have. Look what happened with the Rams and Kurt Warner when Trent Green got hurt at the beginning of the year. Kurt Warner came in like gangbusters, man. You know, so sometimes legends get made like that. You know, and so I can't stand all these new rules that protect offense. You know, especially the quarterback, just specifically the quarterback. You know, all these new rules like he's not an actual football player. You know, like he's in the field of play too. Why don't you just put him up in the tower or whatever? You hike the ball, you throw it to the tower, and let him decide who he's going to throw it to from there. If you don't want nobody to touch him, I mean, come on, man, quit playing. You know, it's like this is the closest thing to what to playing war without actually. When people do have unfortunately perish playing this game, but it's a dangerous game. You know, and people know the inherent risk before they play it. And so that's how I feel about the NFL, and I think them watering down their product will come back to bite them in the ass in the form of these new leagues that are being formed in several different ways. You know, and so that's how I feel about that. You know, now we're gonna move on to something a little less annoying, something that's a little more fun to talk about. We got some youngsters out here, killing on the scene nowadays. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about the homie Zion Williamson. This dude, Zion Williamson. We Lord. Okay. I'm gonna say this right now, and I don't say these kind of things very lightly. This kid. He is more well-rounded as a basketball player than LeBron James was at the same age. This dude is 6'7", 285 pounds, and can dunk from the free throw line. What? 6'7". He's an inch shorter than LeBron James. He's 18, so he's probably going to grow some more. I'll say he's going to top out about 6'10", I think. 6'10", 6'9 and a half. But he weighs 285 pounds, and he can dunk from the free throw line. LeBron couldn't do that. And LeBron was about 50 pounds lighter, 50 to 60 pounds lighter at the same age, 18. And LeBron was a man-child amongst boys back then. Oh, this kid Zion Williamson also has handles. He can dribble. Oh, he can also pass the ball. Oh, he can also shoot the ball. His preseason games with Duke this summer have been off the charts. He's scoring 36, 29. In the state championship this last spring, he scored 51. It's unfair watching him play against high school students this last year. I watched him do the roll call. I watched him, do the introduction off, from the bench, the starting lineup for the state championship final game. You know, you see all these kids coming off the bench like, oh, he's about 16, 17. You can guess the age. He's about 15. He's a little youngster. He got a little peach fuzz on him. And then Zion's the last one introduced. He looks like he's 24, 25, getting off the bench like, just walk. I'm like, damn. The dude can dunk on probably a 12-foot hoop. There's footage of him grabbing things off the backboard at 6'7". Now, if he takes care of his body correctly and keeps himself toned, tightens everything, keeps everything tight like it is right now, tightens it up more, this is a whole new kind of athlete, whole new kind of monster we're talking about here. If he sustains what I think he can sustain from what I've seen, you know, the dude can rebound. He's like a mixture of Charles Barkley, the rifleman Chuck Person, handles. Who got handles? Who's a big dude? A big dude who got handles. I don't know. Right now, I got Charles Barkley. You know, Chuck Person. He got the shooting range. He can block shots. He got defensive skill. You know, I don't think there's going to be any comparison from right now. You can see elements of various people in this game, but there's nothing really to compare to of everybody. You know, somebody who's had all those elements at such a young age. Usually, when somebody's a star phenom coming out of high school, you know, there's usually one or like probably two or three things he's great at, you know, which makes him a number one prospect. And there's like one thing he's not so great at. You know, like Ben Simmons can rebound, he can get to the basket, but he can't shoot. You know, this dude can rebound. He got handles. He can get to the basket. He can shoot. He can play defense. He can pass. You know, this dude can do it all. LeBron, I'm sure LeBron could, you know, hit a jump shot occasionally when he came out of high school, but he didn't have a consistent jump shot like he has now. This dude can shoot now, confidently, with confidence. You know, so we just got. So I'll give him better than the rifleman. I'll give him a little bit of Ray Allen with his jump shot because I've seen him shoot that cleanly in the footage I've seen. Just shoot a clean jump shot, you know. So I don't know, man. You know, I made this prediction a couple of days ago. I think he's obviously going to be a one and done. So if there wasn't that rule, he'd be in the NBA right now, you know. But next year when he gets into the NBA, I think he's going to enter in the NBA as one of the NBA's top 10 players. Off top, I think he's going to be one of the NBA's 10 top players. And I think there's going to be a couple of teams tanking this year trying to get their hands on him. Because that's how cold he is. Dude can ball. And it's like the fact that he's that size. He weighs 10 pounds more than I do. You know, I'm 275. I'm not 6'7" by any means. Any stretch of the imagination. I'm not 6'5". I'm not 6'4". I weigh 275. This dude weighs 10 pounds more than me, and he is dunking from the free throw line at the age of 18. What? That's what I'm saying. Nobody wanted that. I would be surprised if Duke doesn't win the championship this year. That's my pick right now. I'm not changing that pick unless this young man gets hurt. If he gets hurt, I'm changing my pick. But they will win the Final Four. They will do whatever they need to do. He's going to average about 25, 26 points a game. He's going to dunk on cats. He's going to block shots. Oh, Lord. If he gets to that 6'9" mark, he stays how he is and keeps himself in shape, tightens it up, keeps it tightened up, this boy's going to be dangerous. Dangerous, I tell you. Zion Williamson, Z-Dub, get ready. You're ready to watch NCAA basketball season. And they should definitely, they're making money off of Zion Williamson this year This is going to be a big shove for athletes to get paid as much money as the NCAA is going to make off of ratings of people watching this dude play. Guarantee you that. Now, moving on up and forward, we're now going to discuss the little preseason action that we saw last week. We saw some interesting games last week, some interesting action. First of all, we got to talk about how unfortunate it was that some of our bikes got hurt. We still front runners in the division. It wasn't like no major players that got hurt with us. It was like a couple of dudes that might not make the team for sure. And well, we're starting with the Vikings because it's the most important thing going on, obviously here. But we had a couple of injuries. We had 6 injuries, and 3 of them, are guys who are probably going to be out for the season. But they're guys who are just fighting to make a spot on the team. So, like I said, nobody's significant. Truly, they're significant because they're Vikings, but nobody who's gonna alter the course of our season. But it's still sad to see that go down because now you got less guys, that you can work with in practices. You got to bring newer guys in, this, that, and the other, and then these guys actually had a shot at making the team. So our hearts go out to my one guy. I love to see his name on there. His name is Ade. I got the homie, my one friend, so I've never seen that name in the NFL. I was hoping he was going to make the squad, but, he got injured. So we'll see. Other than that, the Vikings are looking all right. Vikings looking all right. I think I have to say I'm going to need to see Captain Kirk go deep this week. This is week 3 of the preseason. I haven't seen no long bombs yet. I'm going to need to see at least 1 or 2 of those since you're going to play a half. I don't care who they go to, really, but you're going to have to show us what that arm can do. But, I know he can do it. I know he can fit it inside the window short distance already. Showed us from the 1 yard line what you can do the digs. I was like, that's cool. That's great. Now we need to see you air it out a little bit, see how accurate you can be airing it out. I would like to talk about the third street running back that we're going to try to add to Dalvin Cook and the homie Murray. This what's this dude's name? I think his name is Moore. I forget the number he had. But he got most of the work in this last week of the preseason, and dude's impressive. He's impressive downhill running. It looks like to me he got some extra shiftiness that people aren't talking about. I think he can move, side to side and make some cuts that people aren't expecting. So I would expect him to get the nod over what's his dude named Rock Thompson, who's trying to get the third running back spot. But he's good, but I don't think he's got the same explosiveness as this other dude. I forget his name. I think it might be Moore. We'll talk about him later if he makes the squad. You got to make the squad really for me. Remember his name. You got to make the squad. But overall, I think the Vikings are gonna be all right. I didn't like watching him lose. Don't turn the ball over like that. Murray got. I'm glad you got that. I'm kind of glad that you fumbled in the preseason, not the regular season game. So at least you can get that jitter. I'm not gonna say it's jitteriness that makes you fumble, but you can. There's a learning experience from everything in football. Really, I think when you're a player, every time you do something good, you learn. Every time something that you mess up on, you can learn from. So he fumbled, against a superior defense they're playing against. That's one of my fantasy defenses. Thank you. I would have gotten the Vikings in that league too, but somebody snatched them up before I could. You dirty bastard. Anyways, you can trust I'm gonna have the Vikings defense in at least 1 or 2 leagues this year. So people just keep on asking me to be in their leagues, man. It's not even my fault. People ask me, Chunky, why you do so many leagues, man? Like, because people keep asking me to get in them. I don't ask. They ask me. They ask me. So, I might be doing 1 too many this year, but we'll see. I'll be dropping bombs on them all anyways. Triple crown winner that I am. Anyways, moving on. What else we've seen in the preseason? The Jets have an embarrassment of riches at the quarterback position. I must say that. The Jets, yes, the New York Jets have something good and productive happening with their team. It's surprising. I know. I know. I know. What was the last good thing that happened to the New York Jets? Rich Ryan. That was it. They should have never got rid of Rich Ryan. But the Jets could do one or two things. They could start Teddy Bridgewater, who is the best quarterback on their squad right now, if they're trying to remain competitive. Or they could start Sam Darnold and hope they remain competitive and trade Teddy and get some value, like probably some offensive help or some defensive help, any kind of help. You could trade Teddy for something useful, but I'll tell you like this. I think whatever decision they make is going to be used as a reason to scapegoat the coach to getting out of there. I think if the Jets don't make the playoffs, they're going to fire the homie Todd Bowles regardless. Even though he was on Luke Cage, even though he made guest appearance on Luke Cage, they don't care about all that shit. They from what I've seen in professional sports, the leash given to black coaches is not half as long as the leash given to white coaches. I'm gonna be straight up and honest with you. Jeff Fisher was a sub-average coach for years. Like, sure, you can point out and say the dude with Cincinnati, he's had his job for years. At least he made it to the playoffs, though. He's made it to the playoffs. He's not recently, but in the last 3-4 years, he's made it to the playoffs. What's his name? I don't even want to talk about his name. Okay, we'll talk. No, we won't. Anyways, the league, and I'll give you this: the Hugh Jackson has been given a fair chance with the Browns. So I think he's been given a fair chance. But overall, look at coaches in the NBA: Dwayne Casey, Mark Jackson. He had a winning team. Dwayne Casey was coach of the year. He got fired. So Dennis Green, went to the playoffs every single year except for like maybe once with the Vikings, and then he got fired. Just a ridiculous. I'm not going to say ridiculous all the time, but it is noticeable that the amount of I'm going to say we'll stick with the length of the leash. Yeah. For you to be successful and turn the organization around. Like if Mike Tomlin hadn't had him, I'm not going to say Mike Tomlin if he hadn't had immediate success, he would still be the Steelers head coach. But he had immediate success. Immediate success. Got a Super Bowl and has been to the playoffs consistently since then. But look, even last year, Jim Caldwell. The Lions have been a crappy, sorry, below average, nobody cares about them organization for decades. Everybody looks at Detroit like they look at the city of Flint. And by the way, Flint they still ain't got clean water. By the way, yeah. But so the Lions have been a sorry organization for years. Jim Caldwell has brought them to respectability since he's been there. They've been to the playoffs twice, I think, under him. They lost, sure, but they were 9-7 last year. They just missed the playoffs by this much. When have the Lions even been in the conversation for being in the playoffs consistently in the last 30 years? But Jim Caldwell gets fired, right? The same thing happened to Lovie Smith when he was coaching Chicago. They went 10-6, missed the playoffs, and then all of a sudden he gets fired. Right? Come on. Really? Right. So so I'm just saying they're not giving as much. It's hard enough to get an opportunity, I think, as a minority coach. And they got the fact that you have to have something like the Rooney Rules and all this. In fact, it's a beautiful thing that you instituted that, but the fact that you have to have it is ridiculous. It's an atrocity against our culture that you have to have things like the instituted to give people a fair chance. And even with that being in place, people still aren't always getting a fair chance. You know, you got serious nepotism issues in the NFL. Even with all these different laws you enact and bylaws and whatever policies you want to put in, you still got ways to undermine these things. To keep a certain subsect of the population, a certain subsect of this thing you call American football. You want to keep a certain people in certain places, certain faces in certain places. You know, as certain people think it should be. They won't tell you that, but they'll let you know. You know, so it's an interesting thing coaching in the NFL. But we'll see what happens with the Jets. But I think if the Jets don't make the playoffs, regardless, okay, I'll say this: if they're not seriously contending for the playoffs, like 9-7 and miss it, 10-6 or 10-6 and miss it, or even if they just don't make the playoffs, I think Todd Bowles is going to be without a job. And so I don't know how much they got some talent on the team, but if they really wanted to win games, they would start Teddy Bridgewater, no question, and have uh, Sam Darnold as the backup. But it's not about that. It's about starting the rookie quarterback you put number 3 overall. Everybody follows the most NFL ready quarterback, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, tonight, Monday Night Football, got the Ravens going against the Colts. I'm going to be watching the homie Lamar Jackson, hopefully, for the first half. Okay, they're going to give Joe Flacco some work. They're going to give him some work. They're going to give him some work. Like I said, the minute the Ravens are out of playoff contention, or Joe Flacco has like 2 or 3 bad games in a row, Lamar is starting. RG3 is probably going to be gone, like everybody's saying, because he's shown he can still play, and somebody's going to need a quarterback somewhere. That's cool, but I'm just waiting for Lamar to get a shot. Just like Deshaun Watson got his shot last year, my fantasy quarterback for the heavyweights league. Thank you. Just wanted to point that out. What up, Shug? What up, Watt? I know you wanted him. Anyways, some other preseason action that we saw. Washington, y'all just ain't have no luck with this running back thing, man. First Darius Guice goes down in week 1. Samaj, I don't know. I would ask him myself. I don't trust all the commentators calling this dude P Ryan. I just can't fathom that a black family would call themselves P Ryan. I don't know. Maybe it is. But most brothers, and it's funny how it happened. When this dude got in the NFL last year, and we started talking about running backs, when I was listening to Matthew Berry and them cats, they would say Samaje P Ryan, But when I first read the name on paper, I was like, Samaj Perine, and then when I talked to my, some of the homies around here, they brothers, and they talk about it like, oh, you mean Samaj Perine? I was like, is that really just cultural like that? Do we just say it different like that? Like Samaj Perine, Samaj AP Ryan. I don't know. Either way, this dude got hurt last week in the preseason game, and so I picked up Fat Rob Kelly on the fantasy squad, and Coach John Gruden did do me a solid. They're gonna give you that, Coach. He did do me a solid and say that Fat Boy Rob Kelly is a starter. I appreciate that. It's cool that you brought Adrian Peterson in today, but you said Rob Kelly is a starter, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what's going on with Washington. We're still going to refer to them as the Washington racists because I still think their owner is racist. But we're not going to get into all that right now. We'll talk about him later. I probably won't talk about him later. Dan Snyder's not worth my time to talk about. I don't even know why I said his name out loud. I don't. I won't do it again. Not today. Anyway, some other action happened last week. Tyrod Taylor is still the best quarterback of the Browns. I suspect, I'm going to be honest with you, I think Tyrod Taylor will be better than Baker Mayfield in 3 years. I don't think Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback or ever will be a better quarterback than Tyrod Taylor. But if Tyrod plays his butt off, I don't see if you have a playoff bound team how you're going to replace Tyrod Taylor or Baker Mayfield. I don't see how you do it unless you start Baker Mayfield week 1. And I don't think you should do that. Not against the Steelers, why? Don't do it. Not to say that the Steel Curtain defense is going against them like that. Who knows with these soft ass rules? You might be able to do something. Well, these punk ass rules they're making nowadays. But Tyrod Taylor is an underrated quarterback, and he's going to show y'all something. He's going to show y'all something. And you just wait. You just wait. Now we get to the end of the thing. I would just like to point out the University of Maryland, your football program is garbage, and I will be glad to see your coach and any assistant coaches involved in that incident with the student dying in June due to your bullying tactics in practice. I would like to say peace and goodbye, and I would like to commend their president for coming out and taking the stance that he did in addressing the family, and hopefully he'll be meeting in person with the family to let them, to say this piece about what, just to take care of things, and the men, what's happened to that family, and with dealing with your university, and also I'd like to point out on one last closing note that John Elway, well, besides the fact that John Elway has a Mr. Ed Horse-like mouth, I would like to point out that you are an asshole, John Elway, for trying to bluff like you were trying to give Colin Kaepernick a job a couple years ago, while omitting the fact that you were in fact asking him to take a pay cut, and then kind of alluding to the fact that he did, that the reason he didn't get no job with y'all is because of these protest things, when in fact these that whole process that you're talking about happened far before that. So John Elway, you are an asshole, and you can go eat some oats or something else. I have not liked you since you didn't give the homie Tim Tebow a chance because you're foolish. Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I'll let you later.